cinema is also a celebration.
We're coming back to a time when people want to consume good content in cinema.
I guess definitely the worst I can say is behind us. India has bounced back in terms of the GBOC level.
Welcome to the Retail Stroll powered by the Great India Retail Summit 2025. I'm Pallavi Goyal and today we are joined by the next generation trio of the Bijli family. This trio is not just redefining the movie experience, they are driving PVR INOX into new territories of growth. We have with us Amir, Naina and Niharika Bijli. Hi guys.
Hi.
We are very excited to do this because this is the first time we have all three of you in frame together. I have this big question in my mind ever since we confirmed this. What are your dining table conversations like? And is there a debate that why SRK is the best one ever?
Oh my God! Wow.
I don't think there's any debate on that.
Yeah.
We never fight about
Yeah, I think that the audience has answered the question for us, especially last year.
Excellent. I think we are good to a very good start.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think it's as you would imagine it. Dining table is pretty much about movies. You know, obviously we talk about the news and what everybody's read, but it's mainly consumed by what everybody is watching and what the people are watching in the cinema. Yeah.
dining table, like or on the phone or standing wherever. We're always talking about movies. Even right now, we were just talking about what's
Yeah,
what's
in fact, we
coming
were trying to
out.
book a ticket.
Yeah.
So we were, even when you left us, that's all we talked about.
Yeah. And that's not changed since childhood.
Most common questions are how are you doing and what are you watching?
Speaking of childhood, why don't you guys share with us your first memory of walking into a PVR property, your first movie you watched? Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. First movie. I think so. Definitely, my memory is Priya Cinema. It opened in 1990, and I think the first film I remember properly seeing there was probably Lion King, which is very fun. The animation, which is interesting because Mufasa is coming out right now, and I just remember that cinema being very different than what it is today. But yeah, like if I think back on it, the screen, the popcorn, I think those are the only two things I remember. The experience of watching a movie.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't remember the first one, but my most memorable one from childhood is Lagan. And I just remember it felt like we were watching a cricket match, but also watching a movie. So it felt really surreal to be in that atmosphere. And I just remember everyone having a lot of different reactions through that. And I think that stayed with me today.
Yeah, I think the first film that I probably saw in the cinema was Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man 2 had released, and obviously with Naina and Harika, mom and dad, we'd gone to watch it. My first memory was probably Priya Cinema as well. I think we used to frequent it a lot during the weekends. I just remember it being an entire ordeal. We used to go explore the market, go into the cinema. If we were lucky enough, we'd go behind the counters, smell the popcorn, eat too much popcorn. But yeah, it was just a very loving family experience that we all shared together. And I guess that's why we're doing what we're doing, to make sure everyone experiences that.
Yeah, I think that's a very, every Sunday was basically movie day. So I mean, I know, and we were younger, I think as we've grown up, we've realized that visit to the cinema for like our dad wasn't the easiest thing, because he was, while we were watching the movie, he was probably watching everything else. But even so, like they really made movie going like a family experience. So we used to go a few times a month, and so that I think that togetherness of watching a movie has always been there. Yeah, and we love doing that, especially when we're all back together again.
Exactly.
Niharika, we are at the Ambience Mall Director's Cut property.
Yes.
Talk to us about why it's so special.
So, I mean, Director's Cut, as you know, at PVR INOX, we have like 1700 plus screens. And, an audience for us is not a specific demographic. It's everybody who loves movies, everybody who enjoys movie, that person is our consumer. So we want to be able to cater to all of those people the best that we can. So within PVR INOX, we do have a range of cinemas, and director's cut, I guess, stands at one end, and the other end we do have more tier 2, tier 3 properties. But director's cut was the brainchild of my father, and it was created to kind of offer a premium viewing experience, which is not just exclusive and limited to the cinema, but also to the food and the beverages that you get outside. It is a world-class offering. It is, if I can say, there's almost nothing like this in the world. And it caters to people who want to spend a little bit more when they step out of the house, and want that experience, that combined experience of F&B, of even getting a drink, which is something that we exclusively offer here in the Gurgaon director's cut, and then of course watching a movie on very comfortable offering of sound, picture, and seat. So that's kind of what it is. Yeah.
No, it's magnificent actually.
Yes,
It's
yes.
very beautiful. If we talk about the younger generation,
Yes.
right? How do you personally, as the lead strategist
Mhm.
here, how do you imagine curating these experiences for them?
Yeah.
Yeah, what does your vision look?
I mean, I think India is currently operating at a very interesting time. And like around the world, the younger generation, however you want to call it, Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Millennial, they definitely have become the biggest part of, any conversation in consumerism, in retail, and definitely when it comes to cinema. So I think the last few years, I've also seen a shift in people's habits. Because of the pandemic, because of OTT streaming services also offering a lot of content. So our main endeavor when it comes to the youth or the younger audiences is to make sure they're getting what they want when they come out. So is it maybe in terms of food, maybe in terms of quality technology, the types of screens that we use, the sound that we offer, the type of content that we offer. Apart from the new releases that are coming out, we have started re-releases. So it's offering that diverse range of everything from in-audi to out of audi.
Talking about this experiential economy, right?
Yes.
What are your two thoughts on film festivals or these curated film experience? And I think this is very personal for you. You
Yeah.
have a background in filmmaking.
Yeah.
Right? How do you think that can be leveraged by a company like PVR INOX?
So, I mean, I think more than the filmmaking background, I think the fact that me, along with our entire team, see, we're first and foremost movie buffs. And before we think about we think as an audience first. So it's like, what do I as an audience member or a consumer of films, what do I want to see? So that's, I think, where this re-release and this film festival strategy actually was born. It started off as an experiment. And this is something actually we've done quite a bit in the last few years. It's just that this offering in 2024 just took on a life of its own. And it's so heartening and it's so encouraging to see, because we started it as an experiment in like leaner periods, just so that the audiences and the consumers have diverse pieces of content available to them. But the response, both from like the nostalgic millennial audience to a new Gen Z, Gen Alpha who's not experienced these films in the cinema. For both those audiences, this just became it became an offering that they really took to, which was amazing for us. And it allowed us to make it more of a tactical move and a strategy, which is what we've adopted now. They are no longer fillers, that are coming in leaner periods. We are actually working very closely with the film fraternity producers to come out with the right dates, the right marketing strategy, so that they are now a permanent offering in our programming, as opposed to like sporadic releases, which we were doing before. And definitely where film festivals come in is that, we see cinema, apart from new releases or re-releases, cinema is also a celebration. So we wanted to use our film festivals as a way to celebrate cinema and to celebrate the laurels of cinema, may it be a director or an actor or a cult film. And, we've had really good success with it, starting with Mr. Bachchan's Film Festival. We did a Zoya Akhtar Film Festival. We did a Kareena Kapoor Film Festival. And then the finale of this year was Shri Raj Kapoor's Festival, which had such an amazing response because it started off as a 3-day initiative. And people really wanted to see those films. And mind you, these are like 4-hour films. Some of them were 2 intervals. And yet the demand was so overwhelming that we increased it this week. So that's very heartening to see that people are coming out to celebrate cinema, because that's what we want to do here.
Beautiful. And
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, re-releases, they've just knowingly, unknowingly, PVR has touched people's hearts again,
Yes.
made them very happy.
Yeah.
That's just beautiful.
No, and I'm also, I mean, like, like I said, first and foremost, we are all audience members. So even when a film like Kal Ho Na Ho came out, Hona Pyar Hai is a film that we're doing next month. Yeah, I'm very excited, huge Hrithik Roshan fan. But when I went to see Kal Ho Na Ho in the cinema, it was a party. You have people getting up and dancing, doing the steps of Mahi Way. You have people saying the dialogues. I mean, that kind of experience you don't get anywhere other than a cinema. And the fact that we can offer that to either families or friends who are watching it for the first time or families watching it again is something amazing for us. And we're happy that we've done that for people this year.
No, there's an official petition now. Please release Dabang 1, please.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
We will definitely take that into account. Thank you.
Niharika, you also play a role in crafting, creative campaigns here, right? Can you share an instance where maybe a risky bit paid off?
So, previously, actually, our marketing campaigns were very limited to certain kinds of material and content. And eventually, as a team, we kind of just decided that, I mean, we've always known this, but we never want to take our consumer for granted. So we decided to, make more of an effort in like the marketing approach that we were taking by doing some commercials and advertisements. So we've been doing quite a few for the last couple of years. But I guess if you had to talk about the riskiest one, or at least the most bold one that we did, was the recent campaign we did with Ori. I don't know if you're familiar with that campaign, but it was quite talked about. Because of the nature of who he is, it became quite viral as well. And we count it as quite a successful campaign. The reason we chose that collaboration is that, at that point, a lot of our research was pointing us to certain data points, and we had things to communicate as a company. We wanted to remind people of that experience of cinema. We wanted to remind people that, cinema is a place without any distractions, without, if I can use an analogy, the doorbell, the ghanti of a house. It's that uninterrupted, a blissful experience of consuming content and consuming films. So we had these 2-3 messages, and then finally we were like, okay, how do we say it in a way that will reach the most people, and it'll also reach the demographic that we want to target with these messages, which is the younger audience, maybe whatever you want to classify them as. So that's where this idea of collaborating with Ori entered the picture. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Niharika.
so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Naina, at PVR INOX, you look at licensing and distribution, right? Talk to us a little about this content acquisition process and how do you approach that?
So I work in content acquisition and theatrical distribution. So a lot of that entails meeting with international partners, keeping up relationships with local partners to ensure that we have access to and that we're aware of the newest content that's available in the market. And so we're very lucky this time. We have a very strong Oscar lineup. So we have Heretic, we have Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman, we have Santosh, the UK's shortlist for Oscars. So I think we're always just keeping up those relationships and attending film festivals to make sure that any buzz or any trend in film, we're actually there and we actually meet that trend. Yeah.
There are always a lot of fresh ideas, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this data mine which points towards historical trends.
Yeah.
How do you really make that decision?
Yeah. So it's very hard because it can't be a science, because movies are very difficult to predict. There's some things that we acquire and we're like, okay, this is a perfect commercial film, theatrical film for India, and it doesn't do well. And there's some films where like, okay, this is a very niche title, but it ends up doing so well. So I think it's staying in top of like trends, like social media trends. Even streaming has really increase the appetite for diversified content. So for example, like if you told me 10 years ago, like Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie would be one of our top performing like foreign language content films, I would just say no, that's not possible. But just because the way we are consuming digital media, we can yeah, digital media trends. I think that sort of made it very unpredictable. And I think staying close to what people are resonating with, that's sort of driving our content decisions.
Today, looking at how moody, should I use the word, the Indian audience is, right? And also how exposed we are to global content. What is the biggest challenge you face in content acquisition?
As you said, it's moody, it's unpredictability. But at the same time, I think we're coming back to a time when people want to consume good content in cinema. I think the pandemic was a disruptor where we went to some form of isolation. But even in the US, I'm now studying there as well. I noticed that people are waiting for good content to come to the theater. So I think that appetite is growing and it's coming back. So even though we're moody, and that's fine, because at the end of the day, it is a subjective art form. But that experience should not be hindered. You should not have access to theatrical content just because you're afraid it won't do well, or just because you're afraid that your experience will be hindered.
You're also studying, you just mentioned at the Columbia Business School.
Yes.
One, you're balancing both. Is there maybe a cool tool or any insight you learned there you've implemented here?
Yeah, so I'm doing my MBA right now and I'm done in April, thank God. I think I'm overstudying. But I think more than the tools, it's just being exposed to global media companies and just seeing how they're traversing change. So for me, it's I'm exposed to, I'm in New York, so I'm exposed to AMC, Regal, just noticing what they're doing, how they're marketing films. For an example is that Wicked. I saw Wicked recently and I noticed how it was marketed there and how it actually brought people back to the cinema. And so incorporating some of those marketing tactics within our organization as well. But I think more than the tools, I think it's the insight of being with people who are passionate about media, but from all over the world.
And also talk to us about initiatives like candlelight screening, such premium experiences for the Indian audience. What does this one tell you about the consumer behavior today? And what's in it for them?
Yeah, so we've partnered with Fever, which is Live Your City in India, and we're piloting that with a few concerts, one of which is happening in Ambience as well. And I think this is the first of many initiatives to showcase the versatility of our properties, that we're a home of entertainment, and that entertainment could be films, it could be music, it could be art. And so this is one partnership that we're hoping would be the start of those initiatives. And so it's starting on the 31st of Jan, and then the second one is on the 1st, and the third one is on the 2nd. And so we have 3 concerts, and then hopefully we'll have many more in the future.
So I think this is going to be diversifying what a cinema chain could offer.
Absolutely, yeah. At the end of the day, we put so much effort into creating these properties, and we just want to ensure that they're full of people who are just looking to consume. And so we're utilizing this asset in any way that we can, and this is just one way of many that we'll get into.
Amir, if I look at your role, you lead international film programming and marketing, right? So talk to us about this process of bringing global content to India. And in the process of that, how do you visualize, modernizing this customer's experience?
Right. So there's a couple of answers there. I think, the beauty is that there's so many international studios who already have a very strong presence in India. They've been partnered with us for more than 20 years now. So it's a very collaborative relationship that we enjoy with them. So all the larger studio films are quite easy to work with, because the studios have their base here. They're very gung-ho about presenting their international films in India. I think the value add that we provide is with the independent studios, the large independent films like John Wick and things like that, which released in India, which we directly distribute. So we always keep our ear on the ground. We attend all of the film festivals, all of the conventions, to understand and gauge both the interest of the consumer in India for foreign content, as well as the foreign production studios' interest in India. So although the consumer is very discerning, I think there's a very large English-speaking population who demands international film. Actually, the production quality is of another level. All of our formats that we've curated within the cinema ecosystem, 4DX, IMAX, ICE, Dolby, they are all meant for this type of larger than life content, which the international films really provide us.
Which
So it
was
works.
your favorite format amongst the 3-4?
Amongst all, wow, I don't think I can choose. I think most recently I've been enjoying IMAX the most, but I love a good 4DX action because the seats move. I think, I saw Super Mario Brothers on in 4DX here actually, so I really enjoyed the movement of the seats, the mist, the light, the sound. It's actually, if you haven't tried it, it's one of the most action-packed, immersive experiences you can get in the cinema theater. Yeah.
We need to try 4D.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, you need to try 4DX. Absolutely.
I mean, you talked a lot about working with global production houses to bring that content here.
Yeah.
Now, give us a peek of behind the scenes, right?
Okay.
We're sure you're making it sound very easy, but it's not that easy, right?
No.
What does the conversation really happen when you talk to them to display that global content here in India? How's it like?
It's always a to and fro. It's always it's a lot of experience actually, which goes into picking which films will work in India and which films don't. Luckily, as I said, the film fraternity is always keen on exploring India as an opportunity, both the domestic markets and international markets alike. So the conversation is based on a lot of historical data. So there's a lot of data that we look back on. We see what genres performed in India, what actors performed in India, what style of filmmaking performed in India, and we carry that narrative forward to see what the future pipeline of film will be. Because there's so many films that are produced globally. So bringing all to India definitely is our endeavor at some point. But we have to be very selective with what we know that will work and what we know the audience will like. There are pockets that you have to identify, right? And we identify those with a lot of data.
Is there any particular film you are really excited to bring to India?
Wow. There's so many. How can I? Actually, we have a very close partnership with companies like A24, these independent films.
Yeah.
So there's a film called Baby Girl, which is releasing at the end of the year, which we were very excited about. Dwayne Johnson is coming in a film called The Smashing Machine, playing Mike Kerr at the end of the year next year. Other than that, there's so many studio films that I can't wait to see on the big screen. There's Mission Impossible releasing next year. There are 3 Disney Marvel films releasing next year. There's a massive DC film, which I think everyone knows about, which is Superman releasing next year. Avatar is releasing next year. So actually 2025 for us is looking extremely optimistic and a very positive outlook on the film content.
Speaking of outlook, 2024 was a very interesting year.
Yes.
If I just talk about Bollywood, we had some very good releases.
Of course.
Pushpa 2 has done immensely well.
Yes.
Stream was excellent. Bhool Bhulaiya was very good. However, it was still a mixed year, right?
Right.
If you can elaborate a bit on your outlook for 2025.
Yeah, in terms of a challenge perspective that you mentioned, it was challenging because actually with Hollywood in particular, due to the strikes that that were going on abroad, there was a lot of dearth of content. But now 2025, as I said, looks very optimistic. There's no lack of content. In terms of opportunities further, there are a lot of underserved markets that we still have. Pockets in South India, we're not as well indexed as we'd like to be compared to the North and East and Central. So there's massive opportunity there. There's also a lot of opportunity for premium large screen formats, like we spoke about 4DX, ICE, IMAX. So all of these things will really enrich the customer's movie-going experience above and beyond that it does already. So I guess definitely the worst I can say is behind us. India has bounced back in terms of a GBOC level, gross box office collection level, more than any other market actually in the world. So we're very optimistic and we're hopeful that the consumers enjoy what we have to show them.
Absolutely. Whenever we talk about the movie experience,
Yes.
food, is a very critical part of it.
It is,
right?
absolutely.
How do you plan to really take it up one notch up on that front?
There are a lot of things that we're planning. Actually, we want to make it, first of all, very affordable and acceptable for all communities. So we have different pricing and different bundles that we offer on weekday at 99 rupees. We have unlimited refills that we're offering on the weekends. above and beyond, there's a bit of a narrative of premiumization of food offerings. So we have a very wide range, again, keeping our ear to the ground, seeing what category of products work, what don't work. Aside from the hero products, which are popcorn, Pepsi, aerated beverages, hot dogs, nachos, we try to give a very diverse portfolio of food. And what we've also tried to up is the customer experience with that F&B. So in our Lux auditoriums, we have service on seat. We have an array of food. We have sushi in some situations. We have pizzas, burgers, anything that the consumer would want to enjoy. We really do our best to provide. We're also figuring out how to take the food experience out of cinema. So we're doing a retail in, consume out format where all our popcorn, our M-pop, I-pop, all of this is being sold inside the cinema for people to take back home and consume. We're also in the process of launching our home delivery segment slightly more, and a lot of homegrown brands that we want consumers to enjoy inside the cinema and then take back home with them as well.
So retail is going to be a big focus going forward.
Retail is a big focus in 2025. Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank
for joining
you.
us,
Thank you for
Amit.
your time. I
Wonderful
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
report.
Thank you.